Hey everybody! Did anyone show up today? Doesn't look like it. Hey, it's your old pal J-Cal here for the pre-party! That's right, guys. Every single week before NWA Power, your old pal J-Cal is here to talk about the National Wrestling Alliance. And, we're not going to do that. Hey, DKM, you are here. Welcome to the show, man. So, hey, this is a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com, your number one source for news and information for the National Wrestling Alliance. You can follow us on all social medias at TheAllianceBlog. That's TikTok. That's Tumblr. That is Twitch. That is Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and of course, you're watching us on YouTube, so you already know that. Michael Manning says, happy NWA Power Day. You know, after last week's episode, I'm excited for Power. And I'm always usually excited about what's going to come on NWA Power. But this week, I'm feeling very, very optimistic about the show. Because, quite frankly, last week's was probably my favorite episode of NWA Power. I feel like last week's episode really was a step in the right direction. Now, I'm not thrilled that Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson are returning to NWA Power. I'm not absolutely excited beyond words to see the Rock and Roll Express taking on Strictly Business, but there are some other good matches that I'm very much looking forward to. And then, of course, Matt Cross getting his opportunity to face Mr. Absolute Ricky Starks, your NWA television champion, as he goes for that Lucky 7 series where if he defends that title 7 times, he gets a shot at Nick Aldis and that 10 pounds of gold. I'm very much looking forward to that. I'm also looking forward to seeing Tasha Steelz taking on Melina. Now, Melina has had a few decent matches. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm not big on Melina's work, but the last 2 times she stepped into the ring, she actually looked pretty good. And Tasha Steelz has been kind of a revelation for the NWA. She's looked really good in both of her losses to Miss Thunder Rosa, who joined us last week if you guys were in the podcast. So, sorry, just checking out things here real quick. So that's where we're at in terms of the television show. But the other thing that I'm excited about to talk NWA, to hashtag talk NWA. If you ever share this video, guys, which I really hope you do, the hashtag that I've been using for about 12 years now is talk NWA, hashtag talk NWA. So if you guys would like to share that in the future, I'd appreciate it. Like the haircut? Trimmed up the beard too, looking pretty fresh. Free Enterprise, the free Ring of Honor show that happened this weekend in Maryland, netted some interesting results. Number one, our guy Nick Aldis got pinned. Not just pinned, he got pinned by Pierre Carl Ouellet, PCO, the reigning Ring of Honor World Champion. What does that mean? What does that mean, the dichotomy of professional wrestling? The Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion beat the Real World's Champion, Nick Aldis. What does that mean? Absolutely nothing. Guys, don't hit the panic button just yet. This Ring of Honor War situation has just started. And PCO getting a fluke victory over our World Champion. Nothing to panic about. Not only that, but his partner ROH ended up leaving our champion high and dry. So there will be a comeuppance, I believe, for ROH. But in the meantime, we've got PCO versus Nick Aldis at the Supercard of Honor in Lakeland, Florida. I believe that is April 14th, and I believe that's also ahead of the Crockett Cup. The amazing thing about this, guys, is even though Nick Aldis lost that match, he was pinned, he was defeated, he still got an opportunity Yes, an opportunity. Because even though this has not been announced as a title match yet, we all know Nick Aldis has a way of working the magic. Right, Nick? Of course. Nick and PCO has potential to be a very good match, maybe even a great match, but more so than that, Nick Aldis has kind of leveraged himself and the NWA World Heavyweight Championship into a higher profile with Ring of Honor. Now, he's not doing opening matches or dark matches anymore. He's literally wrestling in what could be considered the main event of the program. Nick Aldis, you sly dog. You did it again, champ. He did it again. So reading some of the comments here, as I always do, DCam says I got rid of the beard. No, I just trimmed it. It's really not that. Maybe, I don't know. DCam also said Roosh versus Aldis he could get behind. I think that's going to happen. I don't know how much longer. This is a carbonated water, non-alcoholic beverage. It's a pre-party, but we pre-party responsibly here at the Alliance blog. I think the match between Roosh, am I saying that right? I know it's not Rush. The match between Roosh and Nick Aldis, I'm sure, is going to happen down the road. But we have some bigger fish to fry. Of course, what happens if Ring of Honor decides to make this match a Ring of Honor title versus NWA World Heavyweight Championship title match? That's right, title versus title. It's not unheard of. Ring of Honor has done this before. If you guys want to go back in the way back machine with me, back to 2007, Mr. Scrap Iron Adam Pearce, the man who would become 5-time NWA World Heavyweight Champion, would defend the 10 pounds of gold against the Ring of Honor World Champion Nigel McGuinness. And that match had results that basically the NWA won, but no titles changed hands. DCam says Roosh. Do I roll my R's with that, DCam? Roosh. Roosh. So there is precedent for a title versus title with the NWA and Ring of Honor. Of course, our good dear friend Nick Aldis tried to get a title versus title match with Cody Rhodes at All In. However, Cody wasn't able to secure that opportunity to win the Ring of Honor World title. So when it was Cody versus Nick, there was only one belt on the line. And your comments are, Lou says, didn't we nearly have it last year before they didn't give the title to Scurll at Ring of Honor? Yeah, I mean, I sat there and watched that G1 show at Madison Square Garden. I still don't know why Aldis was left off that show, and I still don't understand why Scurll didn't win the ROH title. A unified champion. Terry McDermott. Hey, Terry, welcome to the show, man. I haven't seen your name in the comments before. Thanks. If this is the first time you're watching, thanks for checking us out. I hope you will subscribe and hit that like button. And if you really like it, share it with your buddies who enjoy the NWA. Yeah, the Ring of Honor Championship, that was a real weird time there last year at the G1 card. That thing sold out so fast based on the idea that the members of the Elite were still going to be there. The Bullet Club were going to be there. Now, we did have the Bullet Club. We had, the Haku's kids. I'm terrible with names. I'm not even going to try. Captain Cat, welcome back, man. I haven't seen you in a while. Glad that you joined us here today. But we did have some version of the Bullet Club. We had a lot of great New Japan stars. Hell, we even had Enzo Amore and Big Cass try to cause chaos. I don't know. But ultimately, that Ring of Honor Supercard at the G1 was missing out on the Real World Champion, and it did wonders for the All In show. I really think that if they would have built a card that featured the NWA World Championship, that G1 card would have been a lot more, at least, entertaining as far as I'm concerned. I'm going to read some more of your guys' comments here, because that's what we do here on the pre-party. Gorillas of Destiny. Thank you, DCam. Thank you. You always catch me. Lamb says, Aldis was left off the show because New Japan didn't want him in there, which is a huge missed opportunity for New Japan Pro Wrestling, and something that I don't think will happen going forward. if New Japan doesn't see the value in Nick Aldis at this point, there's no sense of even working with the promotion. Nick Aldis is seriously an international treasure. I heard someone else call him that, and I prefer that moniker for him now. I don't want to call him the national treasure. I want to call him the international treasure. He's defended the title on 4 continents. We're talking China. I was there. The UK, Australia, mate, and even in the United States, and well, really just North America. For my opinion, there's not anyone better than Nick Aldis right now, who is available to help influence New Japan Pro Wrestling. Aldis has been a product of so much mentorship and wrestling legacy. You know, he was a part of the Main Event Mafia when he was teaming with Samoa Joe in Impact Wrestling. They won the Global Honored Crown Tag Team Champions in Pro Wrestling. No, we've talked about this before, and as much as I would like to see, you know, the NWA working with Pro Wrestling Noah or All Japan Pro Wrestling, I think honestly the biggest get for the NWA at this point would be working with New Japan. I don't know if that's ever going to happen, but I would like to see it. And then you know, so leading up to the Crockett Cup 2020, man, April's coming so fast. I can't believe it was a year ago. I went to the Crockett Cup last year, and I really thoroughly enjoyed Aldis versus Marty Scurll, and I do believe they're going to tear the house down for a second time. But it's just kind of funny to me that this match is happening at Crockett Cup. They haven't announced a location yet. They haven't announced a city yet. They don't even have a date yet. And that's kind of troubling to me as someone who would like to go to the show and like to spend my money. I will literally buy a plane ticket. I will literally book a hotel room. I will rent a car, and I will go to this show. But give me some details, guys. I can't wait till March to book my travel. I need to know much, much sooner than later. Who else is going to go to the Crockett Cup? Leave a comment or a message if you're going to go to the Crockett Cup. But talking about NWA Power, are we talking about NWA Power? I kind of jumped around here. Talking about the Crockett Cup, which tag teams do you think are going to take part of this tournament? I mean, last year we had tag teams from Ring of Honor, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and we also had, I believe it was a CMLL tag team. Now, the interesting thing about all of this is, you know, we didn't get a tag team like the Gorillas of Destiny. We got, you know, Kojima and not Tenzin, not his normal tag team partner, but Blue Destiny. DKM says, I thought they said Atlanta. You know, they said it wasn't going to be in the Georgia Public Broadcasting Studios, and Nick Aldis had said on Power that they were shopping this show in different states and different venues. It very well could be Atlanta, but I don't think they've definitely said that for certain yet. So we'll kind of have to wait and see. Excuse me. So is this the first time I've been on camera before? No, but for some reason I feel nervous today. Interesting, huh? So we talk about the Crockett Cup and who are these tag teams that are going to fill this cup out. Are we going to see a return of the War Kings? I recently posted on TikTok how I thought the War Kings should be back in the NWA. Now I know Crimson has been hurt, and there are rumors that Mr. Jax Dane might be making a return to the NWA much sooner than later. But I for one would like to see the War Kings. They had a series of good matches leading up to the Crockett Cup. They were fell short to the team that made it to the finals, and that would be the wild card. And that was a weird deal because no one thought that Thomas Latimer and Royce Isaacs would be anything more than just a throwaway tag team in that Battle Royal, and they almost won the titles. Terry says, I am sure some teams from Arizona and Hollywood would be in the Crockett Cup. Yeah, you know, it's funny because If you guys follow me on Instagram, and that's at TheAllianceBlog, I'm always asking for more NWA questions. I like to try to get NWA content being produced daily, weekly, monthly, as much as I frequently can. And, micro content on social media, whether it be TikTok or Twitch or Facebook or Instagram. I like to try to engage everybody and talk about the NWA as often as I can. One of the questions that somebody asked me today is, what did I think of the NWA Tag Team Division? And quite honestly, it's a sorry state, guys. Eli, Drake, and James Storm are fun. It's a great tag team, great pairing. But who is their real competition? The Rock and Roll Express? Come on, I can't take much more of those two guys. Josephus and Mims, I think that was a one-off. I don't think they're going to be teaming much. Cabana and Anderson, well, Anderson seems to have disappeared, and honestly, so is Cabana. Aaron Stevens, the shooter, and the question mark, that's a possibility. But there isn't a real, the wild card aren't even really teaming together. Hell, the Strictly Business tag team tonight that's facing the Rock and Roll Express is Nick Aldis and Royce Isaacs, and not Thomas Latimer. So I really think there needs to be more tag teams introduced to the NWA, and one tag team that I'm very big on can be seen every week on Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. If you don't live in the markets that they appear on, whether it be in Houston or Memphis or now San Francisco, and then of course Los Angeles, you could check them out on Fight TV, and all the episodes go directly to Fight TV. And the tag team of the Wolf Zandies, which is a silly name to describe a really good tag team, which is Che Cabrera and Bad Dude Tito, well, these guys are a lot of fun. And I think their size, their intensity, I think would be a perfect fit for the NWA. You guys have to remember, Bad Dude Tito recently, I guess it's almost a year now, wrestled against Nick Aldis for the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship. And if you guys remember your NWA history, when Championship Wrestling from Hollywood was in fact an NWA promotion, Bad Dude Tito was a former NWA Heritage Tag Team Champion. He used to team with, what was his name? Rico Rico, I can't remember his last name. But look it up, I'm not wrong. His name is Rico. Let's see some more of your comments. Michael says, would be great if the War Kings were at the Cup with Animal 2. I would like to see a redemption story, right? I mean, they didn't get their just desserts. I really think that Crimson and Jack Stane should have had so much more in that tag team tournament. I mean, look, Latimer and Isaacs are former tag team champions, so you can't discredit them, but gosh, Jack Stane is so powerful, and both of them, Crimson and Jack Stane, they very much kind of mirror the original legacy of the Road Warriors. Clearly they're not Hawk and Animal, but they are some pretty powerful dudes, and they did have a decent run in Impact Wrestling. I'd like to see what they could do with the NWA. Let's see. Ron Gibson says, the tags, I want Briscoes again, 4 minutes of Heat, and the Gym Nasty Boys. Now, I'm familiar with the Briscoes, and I'm familiar with the Gym Nasty Boys. You're going to have to smarten me up on the 4 minutes of Heat. Maybe, hey Ron, maybe shoot me a DM on Twitter where I can find some of this 4 minutes of Heat stuff, because I'm all about seeing some new and upcoming tag teams. Tom says, the question mark and Aaron Stevens. Now, look, they're funny, man. I've kind of come around full circle on the question mark. I was there in Atlanta the first night that he appeared. I popped. The whole arena was behind him. Thought he was awesome. Thought he was hilarious. And then I got soured on him. I kind of got tired of the same shtick. But then they put him with Aaron Stevens, and now it's gotten funny again to me. It's kind of, like I said, it's come full circle. And I'm so happy with Aaron Stevens. I think he's seriously one of the highlights of NWA Power week in and week out. I would love to see the question mark and Aaron Stevens in the Crockett Cup. Hell, I'd love to see them take on James Storm and Eli Drake for those World Tag Team Champions. Let's see, Michael says the Briscoes would be so good. Yeah, I mean, look, the Briscoes got... I'll be honest, man. the Rock and Roll Express, I give the devil their due. They are probably one of the most influential tag teams of all time. Probably one of the greatest tag teams of all time. And you cannot dispute the fact that they've won the NWA World Tag Team Championships, 9 times over 40 years. That's amazing. That's incredible. But I don't need to see them anymore, especially against the Briscoes. And at the Crockett Cup, I think the Briscoes were dealt the shorthand by having to put on a match with the Rock and Roll Express when it was a no-win situation. I sure would love to see the Briscoes again. I want to see the Briscoes versus Homicide and Kingston. I think that would be a lot of fun. Just real hard hitting. Just, I think the term is don't give a F. I don't want to lose our rated PG rating here on the video. So more of your commentaries. Ron says, oh yeah, Wolf's Andes and the Soul Burners. And see, and here's where Jay Cal's going to say, no, I don't want the Soul Burners. I don't like the Soul Burners. I love Ryan Taylor. Ryan Taylor, to me, is probably the most underutilized, most complete wrestler in wrestling today. It baffles my mind that Ryan Taylor isn't signed by All Elite Wrestling or Impact or the WWE or New Japan Pro Wrestling. He is so good. He is so good. I can't believe even New Japan USA isn't using them. I know they use a lot of young guys like Carl Fredericks, but you give me Carl Fredericks versus Ryan Taylor and you're going to have a happy J Cal. That's for certain. 100%. Ryan Taylor, I think Ryan Taylor could have a good match with a broomstick, honestly. I mean, Kenny Omega wrestles blow-up dolls. Ryan Taylor could wrestle a broomstick and still get 5 stars from Meltzer. Michael says Jay Briscoe yelling at the Rock and Roll Express last year was one of the best things he'd ever seen. You know what? I felt bad for the guys. I was like, man, these old grandpas who should be collecting their Social Security and their AARP benefits is sitting there, getting yelled at by the Briscoes who legitimately look like they're ready to kill somebody. I felt bad for the Rock and Roll Express. I did. Take a drink, excuse me. Gotta love that sparkling water. So, I'm really looking forward to tonight's NWA Power. Last week, we got a matchup between Matt Cross and Caleb Conley, which I thought was probably the best wrestling match I've seen in NWA Power. Now, before you guys get too upset with me, I'm going to go ahead and say, yeah, I like the flippity-dippity style. I like the flips. I like the high risks. I like the Lucha Libre inspired moves, the Hurricanranas, the Tope con Suicidos, the Asahi Moonsaults. Love it all. Every single drop of it. And before you tell me that's not old school wrestling, I dare you to go watch an Antonio Roca match from back in the 60s and watch him doing flying head scissor takedowns. You could see Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson doing that stuff in the 80s. I think this kind of wrestling has as much relevance as the headlocks and wrist locks and figure 4 leg locks and the brawling outside with Abdullah the Butcher pulling a fork out of his folds of fat and jamming it into some guy's head. I do believe that wrestling is Baskin Robbins ice cream. There's 31 flavors and we can all choose what we like. Last week I saw the match that most appealed to my sensibility. Matt Cross challenging Ricky Starks. Now we know that Zicky Dice is sitting there waiting in the wings, and as much as Zicky Dice is starting to grow, he is not Ricky Starks and he is not Matt Cross. So this match tonight I think is going to be very, very good, and I'm very much looking forward to it. More of your commentary. Okay, it's the same stuff. Go ahead and if you guys want to pardon the interruption, feel free to. I enjoy reading your comments. I think it adds something to the show. And I'll be quite honest with you, I don't write an hour's worth of show because I always just didn't believe I'm going to be talking to you guys just as much as I'm going off my material. Terry says, wish Pete Dunne was in the NWA, but no, it will not happen soon. Never say never. DKM pointed this out to me actually yesterday, that the original ambition of one David Lagana was to work with the WWE and to put the NWA on the WWE Network. Now, hold the phone. Hold the flippin' phone. Could you imagine? Now, I know that it's very accessible, both the WWE Network, you pay $10 a month, or YouTube, you pay nothing. But could you imagine a world that we would live in that would feature the NWA on the network? That would create a lot of opportunities. Now, one match that I've been requesting and asking for, well, ever since the NWA came back to the forefront, would be a matchup with Triple H and this man right here, Nick Aldis. Now, I think that match would be stellar as well. And I know Triple H isn't as young as he used to be, but that guy could still go. And could you imagine the promos between the two? Right now, my partner, Kevin Douglas, on the Alliance Guys podcast, we do that with DKM. We try to get that out every week before the next episode of Power, but we usually film that on Wednesdays or Thursdays following the NWA Power. He's quick to tell you that there's nobody better than Nick Aldis right now at cutting promos and in-ring work. And could you imagine the promos that Triple H and Nick Aldis could have to sell that match? And are you telling me right now that you wouldn't watch that match, even if it meant you having to subscribe to the WWE Network to see Nick Aldis defend the 10 pounds of gold against Triple H at an NXT TakeOver? Or even better, WrestleMania? I'd be all about that. Now let's see, some more of your comments. Stan, New Japan, Stan. All Japan, Stan. Everything Japan, Stan. We all know that Matt Cross ain't winning. You know, Stan, the thing that I say about that is I don't necessarily... I mean, I agree with you. I know he's not going to win the title tonight either. But I don't necessarily need him to win the title for me to enjoy the match. I could still sit there and watch it and enjoy it, knowing full well who's going to win. I mean, we all saw the Avengers Endgame, and we all know that Tony Stark's snapped his fingers to win for the home team. And we all knew that, well, maybe some of us knew that he was going to die in that movie. To me, it didn't take away any of my enjoyment from watching it, even though I knew what was going to happen. In fact, I'd watch it again. I still watch it. I watched it last week. Same thing for me is with wrestling. I don't need to be surprised at who's going to win or lose. I can just enjoy the art. I can just enjoy the action. And that's my 2 cents on it. I see more of your comments. Willie Bowen says that WWE a bunch of cutthroat. Vince McMahon would try to deplete the NWA Power roster. Now, hey, Willie, maybe you're right. But as it looks right now and seeing the WWE stock prices fall so much, I don't know if there's going to be an opportunity to sign as many wrestlers as they have in the past. In fact, I think after this year's WrestleMania, you're going to see so many layoffs, it's going to shock people. I really think people are going to be surprised. Hell, they just fired their CEOs, which is weird because they had two, not CEOs, but presidents. Michael, I can't think of his name. Sorry, guys, I don't know the names, but I know that the stock price nearly dropped $20 in one day because they fired their presidents. Now, I know that the price of the WWE stock is rising, and I know this isn't a WWE podcast, but I do believe, I don't think they're going anywhere, but they have to find a way to make more money. And DKM, to your point, the network may not be around much longer. I think the network will stick around. I think what we're going to see is that they're going to start licensing some of the bigger pay-per-views to other streaming services. We see CBS has done this with Amazon with their Thursday night football games, the NFL. Some of those Thursday night games have been made available on the Amazon subscription service Prime. And I could see that happening with the WWE, that maybe some of these bigger pay-per-views, or they're going to stream in conjunction with the WWE Network, because there are people who don't care about the WWE Network but would watch WrestleMania. Now, if I have Amazon Prime, I'm going to go ahead and watch that WWE pay-per-view, and I don't have to subscribe to the network. Currently, I am not subscribed to the network, and if it was made available, let's say on Netflix or Hulu or Amazon Prime, I would watch that. You know, they make, I know that content creators for Amazon are kind of paid by the minutes watched. So when you see a show that you really love on Amazon, I would recommend watching it quite a bit if you want to see a sequel or an additional season or whatever, because that's how the creators are getting paid for that show. Likewise, if WrestleMania were to appear on Amazon Prime, people who don't have the network might be inclined to watch it, and the WWE would still make money. Maybe not as much if they went to a traditional pay-per-view format, but it's kind of hard to put the toothpaste back in the toothpaste tube once it's already out. And that's me talking a lot about WWE for an NWA podcast. The other match I'd like to see, though, Scrap Iron Adam Pearce. I know it's a pipe dream. I think maybe Triple H versus Nick Aldis has more actual physical possibility of happening than Scrap Iron Adam Pearce, but a boy can dream. A boy can dream. More of your comments. The NWA title wouldn't be the World Championship if it was on the network. It would be playing backseat to the WWE title. Yeah, you're not wrong, Stan. Of course you're not wrong. I mean, look, the WWE network, the hierarchy of the WWE, there's the Universal Championship held by Brock Lesnar. I couldn't even tell you who held the WWE World title right now. I think it's still Bray Wyatt, The Fiend. It's just a guess. I honestly don't watch the show. Jason says, "Sup, J-Cal." Jason, thank you so much. I know you were watching our video that we premiered for the Alliance Guys podcast. I really appreciate you checking us out, man. And that shirt is on the way, I promise. I haven't forgotten, just I've gotten really busy. I haven't had a chance to get everything ordered yet. Willie Bowen says, "Whatever happened to Christian York and Joey Matthews, the former NWA World Tag Team Champions?" I know Joey Matthews has kind of been going through some stuff. I'm not sure what's going on with him. Thunder Rosa's back, everybody. Thunder Rosa, welcome back. We were just saying how awesome you were. No, we weren't, but you are. We were saying that Thunder Rosa has kind of set the bar for the women's wrestling. And someone actually asked me on Instagram today who I'd like to see Thunder Rosa face. And the first person I would throw out there is a former women's world champion who's not appeared on NWA Power, and that would be Jazz. And I know Thunder Rosa, I know you wrestled Jazz a few years back at NWA Big Apple, I think it was. You challenged Jazz for that 10 pounds, the women's championship, and I know you were unsuccessful, and I think it would only solidify your greatness as a women's champion to see you get another opportunity to face one Jazz. And you'd also kind of seal that title because Jazz never lost it. And if you could defeat her as champion, well, I think that would say a lot about your legitimacy and really just sings the praise of how much we've all been saying how great you are anyways. More of your comments. I would like to see Scrapper back in the NWA. Don't call him Scrapper. I would too. Rosa equals money. She sure does. Thunder Rosa is 100% money. You guys corrected me. DKM says Lesnar is the WWE World Champion and the Universal Champion's Bray Wyatt. Okay, like I said. DKM did buy... Thunder Rosa, DKM did buy your merchandise. He is a man of his words. The Alliance guys are collectively 100% behind Thunder Rosa, and DKM actually put his wallet where his mouth is. So props to you, DKM. Willie says, to expand the ladies division in NWA Power, make Shimmer an affiliate right along with All Japan Pro Wrestling. Well, Willie, like these days of affiliates and associates and partners have kind of went away. And I know what a lot of people would like to see a return of the territories. I just don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. People who want to be affiliated with the NWA book the champions. That's it. If you want to be an affiliate of the NWA, you go ahead and book Thunder Rosa on your show. You contact Dave Lagana and say, hey, I want the women's world champion to appear on my show, and that's how you become affiliated with the NWA. Championship Wrestling from Hollywood has done it countless times. I know that Tried and True Pro Wrestling is going to be using Ricky Starks here in the next couple of weeks for their show that's coming up, but he's going to be taking on MVP. So if a promotion wants to be affiliated with the NWA is open for business. Call Dave Lagana, tell him you want which champion you want to appear on your show. The NWA does work in exclusivity, but they work with everybody but Impact. So if you want a champion to appear on your favorite promotion show, tell your favorite promotion, hey, I want Nick Aldis. I want Thunder Rosa. I want Ricky Starks. I want Aaron Stevens. I want James Storm and Eli Drake. That's how you get them. Let's see. Michael Manning, will the Women's Championship be defended abroad, the UK? Interesting question, Michael Manning. I think Thunder Rosa can answer it. I know that she currently holds the TJP International Princess Championship. I think that's what it's called. I think you'd be more likely to see her defend the NWA World Championship, Women's World Championship in Japan before the UK, because I know she's being booked in Japan more frequently, but that doesn't mean no. It just means maybe. Stan says there is no women's division in All Japan, and All Japan doesn't need the NWA. Stan, you're not wrong, buddy, but can you say it with a smile on your face? You're right. The All Japan doesn't need the NWA. They don't. Neither does Pro Wrestling Noah. Neither does New Japan. All these promotions who are already secured don't really need the NWA. You know who a promotion I think that might need the NWA would be the Australian promotion, the International Assault. In the past, they've used guys from Ring of Honor, specifically guys from the Elite. They've used guys from Impact Wrestling. And I think at this point, it would be smart for the International Assault in Australia to use the NWA. In fact, there's a lot of stars in the NWA. Eli Drake is a star, man. He's a star. Nick Aldis, he's a star, man. You can't argue with me. You could say he's not as big as, Okada. You could say he's not as a household name like Brock Lesnar. But in the world of wrestling, he's paved his way, man. He's paid his dues. He's certainly a guy who is worthy of that recognition. All Japan doesn't need the NWA, but there are promotions out there that would benefit from working with the NWA. Championship Wrestling from Hollywood benefits from that relationship. I do believe Tried and True works with the NWA quite regularly. We know that the AML, I'm not sure what that stands for, but I know they're part of that WrestleCade convention in Atlanta and North Carolina. I know they've worked with the NWA in the past, and it seems to be a symbiotic relationship that benefits both parties. There's a lot more wrestling promotions out there that could benefit from the NWA. I think a promotion in the UK could benefit. I don't know who's actually out there anymore. Willie says, Eli Drake is a star. Yeah, let me tell you something. Huh? Sorry. Let me get a drink here real quick. I know International Assault is coming back probably this spring, maybe this summer. And I really, really hope the NWA is doing something with them, because I think that, one, the NWA is best served when its champions travel abroad, travel everywhere. Thunder Rosa is an amazing wrestler. I would like to see her defend the World Championship in Japan. I'd like to see her defend the World Championship in Australia. I'd like to see her defend it in Mexico. I'd like to see her defend it in Canada. She is a skilled wrestler. She's a wrestler. She can go anywhere. She can have a good match with anybody. Why not? Same thing could be said for Nick Aldis. Same thing could be said for Aaron Stevens. Did you guys see that match that he had with Trevor Murdoch? Not only was it smart and well executed, but the guy got violent. The violence I haven't seen from Aaron Stevens in quite some time, and I thought it was quite enjoyable, and I can't wait to see some more of it. I know that a lot of fans are petitioning the NWA to have that rematch between Trevor Murdoch and Aaron Stevens, and I'm all for that too. But man, Aaron Stevens has a nasty side to him, and I thought that was quite entertaining what he did last week. DCam says WWE NXT has killed a lot of the UK promotions, but there are still some to work with. Yeah. A friend of the show, Billy Wood, who used to run the IPW UK, they ran into some controversy, some problems, and I know he was very hopeful to have a working agreement with the WWE UK NXT brand, and there was a lot of talk about co-promotion and using a lot of the same wrestlers on both shows. But yeah, the WWE NXT UK certainly killed a lot of the positive steam that was happening in the UK. and it seemed like a lot of the regulars in the United Kingdom either went to New Japan or became exclusive with the NXT. So it kind of, you're right, it did hurt, but that doesn't mean that there aren't other promotions out there. And especially if you could maybe bring in Thomas Latimer, bring in Nick Aldis, bring in Eli Drake to compete alongside of some of the local wrestlers in the market, I think you're going to benefit from that. Lamb says, did Aldis defend his title in Mexico in his first run? I do not believe Nick Aldis has defended the world title in Mexico at all. Sorry, guys. My adoring public would like to call me and tell me something. Let me just fix that real quick so that doesn't happen again. No, he hadn't. I don't believe he's defended it in Mexico. I don't think he's scheduled to defend in Mexico anytime soon. There are promotions that are kind of on the bigger side, but a lot of the promotions have working agreements with other promotions. So AAA is working with Impact, so I would imagine that you're not going to see Aldis in Impact or AAA. CMLL has a working relationship with Ring of Honor and the NWA, or excuse me, New Japan Pro Wrestling, but that doesn't mean that you're not, or that you wouldn't see that happen. It just means I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. There's also the Crash, but they have a working agreement with MLW. So the likelihood of the World Heavyweight Champion defending in Mexico is not very high, but that doesn't mean it won't happen. It just, I don't see a partner for them just yet. DKM says, Murdoch versus Stevens was excellent. We talked about this on the Alliance Guy podcast. Also another just great match. Just a very brutal, we used the term chicken shit hill of Stevens, but he did get his hands dirty, which was fun to see. And when the question mark was banned from ringside, I mean, you really got to see a different side of Stevens we haven't really seen yet on Power. And you forget that guy could work. I mean, he's a gifted wrestler. You know, he's not just some bum they pulled off the street. He can actually go. So it was good to see that side of Aaron Stevens on NWA Power. NWA Hammersmith in England, that's where Nick Aldis came from. You're thinking of Hammerlock, and he didn't get his start there, but he did some training with the guys there. Aldis got his start working with the Knight family, Paige's mom and dad, and yeah. And the Hammerlock has been gone for some time though. Michael Manning says Aaron Stevens trying to kill Sawanaro in the exhibition was sublime. And I'm going to say this again, Michael, we're going to disagree, but come on, you can't call Sawanaro a kid. You just can't. He was really good on the mic, by the way, during that Royce Isaacs match. I thought he was pretty good. That's a good way to use him until he heals up. Lamb says Revolution Pro Wrestling UK is the strongest, I think, out there, but they have New Japan stars on every show, so it will be difficult to work with them in the NWA. Maybe not. I mean, look, when Cody was world champion, I know for a fact that David Logano was there in Long Beach when Cody won the IWGP US Championship from Juice Robinson, and I know Dave Logano was there, and I know they were talking about doing business, and of course nothing came of it then, but that doesn't mean something can't come from it now. And working with the New Japan Pro Wrestling and by proxy working with Revolution Pro Wrestling, I think it'd be really good. And personally, like, how about, I don't know, Marty Scurll might be working with, Marty Scurll is working with New Japan Pro Wrestling again, but what about Ricky Starks working in New Japan, some of the cruiser or junior heavyweights that they have? I think that'd be very interesting. Camille and Latimer were working some promotion in Mexico. DKM, I do believe you're right. I don't think that was Mexico, though. I think that was Nicaragua. I could be crazy. I'm willing to admit that I don't know everything, but I do believe that was Nicaragua. I don't think that was Mexico. And you're right, it was Latimer, it was Camille, but I also believe that was Chavo Guerrero Jr. and El Patron. You know, he was known as Alberto Del Rio. I think he's Dos Caras' kid. I don't know. But hey, guys, we're starting to run out of time. I'm looking down. It's 2:51. local time, which means it's 5:51 on the East Coast, which means we're just minutes away from NWA Power. And we got some good matches tonight. Again, Melina is going to be taking on Tasha Steelz. We're also going to see Strictly Business, Aldis and Royce Isaacs teaming against the Rock and Roll Express. And the TV title will be on the line when absolute stroke daddy Ricky Starks defends against Mr. Mad Dog Matt Cross. It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. And how about you guys join me over there? Go ahead and get yourself a soda pop or a bathroom break, whatever you need, a bag of chips, and let's all just head over there and watch some NWA Power together. I appreciate you guys checking out the show. It's always fun when you guys are interacting. Please come back and we'll do this again next week. Stay tuned also to the Alliance blog, where we're going to do our recap review of the episode you're watching tonight. That should probably be up before the end of the week. And, of course, if you will, please like, subscribe, follow, leave comments here on the YouTube page, but also follow us on all social medias at the Alliance blog. That's Tumblr, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, Twitter, of course, YouTube, all of it. We appreciate your support so much, and it always makes it fun to do this show for you guys when you're checking out what we're doing all across social media. But that's going to do it for me today. Again, thanks for checking out NWA Power, and we'll be back next week. Same bat time, same NWA channel, or Alliance blog channel, and I'll see you guys at the matches. Did I end the show? Nope, but I did now. Or I tried to. Come on. It never works. It never ever works. The screen. Will Cody Rhodes ever return to NWA Pro Wrestling? Probably not. I think AEW is pretty exclusive. Enjoy the show, man. Later. Thanks, Mike, for checking it out. Stan, see you on the other side. Your boy Rock and Roll is in the main event. I don't love that. Michael Manning is laughing at me because I can't ever end the show the right way. I don't know what's going on.